Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. What's your biggest financial challenge right now? To grow and build and supersize your business, of course. Now, I can hear the screaming and the cringing in the background, but the truth is, if we can't answer this question immediately, we have a problem. And it might be one of the things that is holding us back from actually supersizing and growing our business in the fastest, easiest way possible. And that is that we're not aware of what's actually going on in our company. You might say, oh, I've got, finance that handles that. And I would contend that that is one of the areas of your business and your organization. If you want to supersize and grow it, you better have your finger on the pulse of that. So I'm going to ask you some questions today. We are going to pick the biggest area, the biggest challenge, the biggest area we want to improve financially for our business today, because starting tomorrow, we're going to apply the SOAP framework to it. It's a simple 4-step process that we'd apply to fix, improve, get any goal, or deal with any challenge, upset, setback, roadblock that's standing in our way to getting what we want right now. I started using it in 2020 during the pandemic because I needed to get off my rear and keep moving forward in times of the most uncertainty I'd probably ever experienced in my life. So how do we go about identifying, if you really truly aren't aware and don't know what your company's biggest challenge is financially right now, or your biggest improvement area, then here's some questions to ask yourself to find out. Number one, we have to be self-aware about our organization, and we have to be brutally honest with ourselves. We know what our strengths and improvement areas are, or if we don't, we sure ought to be doing a SWOT analysis today to find out what they are. And if we don't have the skills and abilities to do that, then we should get somebody who's skilled in doing that to do that for us. But really, to do a good SWOT analysis, all you have to do is be curious and ask questions of the right people in your organization. So how to become more self-aware? Ask yourself questions like, where am I feeling the most financial stress right now? What's stressing me out about a certain area? Maybe you just lost a big customer. Maybe you just gained a big customer and you're a little worried about how you're going to supply them with the things that you promised them you're going to supply them with because of supply chain changes, or maybe, there's always things going on. They impact us financially. So what is your biggest stressor? What keeps you up at night? And if it's nothing, bless you and count your blessings, but then think about what's an area that we could improve in. What is a topic or an area that you avoid looking at? If you can't answer this question today, that is your number one area to improve right now. If you don't even know and can't look at, as the founder and the leader of your organization that you're trying to grow and build and supersize, if you can't answer this question, if you don't really know this, I would say that is your number one challenge area, or your area to improve, is how do I be aware of the key things that I need to know in order to drive this and move this company forward? Where could you possibly impact the finances of your company if you just spent 10 minutes a day? What could really improve and move the needle in the direction you want it to go, either from an expense or an income or investment or a legacy standpoint, if you just spent 10 minutes a day on it? And secondly, review your organization's spending habits. And again, if you're not doing this on a regular basis, I got to ask you, why not? And maybe it's somebody else's job to do it and then report it to you, but are you checking up and following up and making sure that changes are being made when they're being committed to being made? That's part of our jobs as leaders and managers of our companies. Where is your organization overspending? I joined an organization. It was a 100-year-old company that had been around for obviously 100 years, and they did things the way they always did things. When I joined that company, they had never done budgets. Never in the history of that company had they done budgets. I was appalled. That was one of the first things we did, is we started doing annual budgets. Another thing that they were doing is they never bid out any big projects. So all of the big projects they were massively overpaying for because they never bid to get any competitive bids to find out if they were massively overpaying for things. So they went to the brother-in-law or the cousin or the uncle automatically at whatever price they quoted without any bids. So in order to rein that in, we implemented a bidding process for that company. So think of things like that. It might just be one area. We made massive improvements. We literally saved the company millions of dollars the first year by just bidding out projects that were important to the company. All right. So where are you overspending? are there subscriptions and things for your organization that you don't use? Especially the bigger your company gets. A lot of times you'll find you're paying for a subscription to an online service for accounting something or for managing something or communicating somewhere. You're paying for the entire organization and you find out only 5 people are using it. And you could, downsize the amount of subscription, usually to the tune of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, depending on how big or hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on how big your organization is, and you want it to grow to be. I told this story in Be a Better You Annual Challenge about how back when I was doing real estate, I signed up for a real estate subscription for $150 a month. I canceled it, but they didn't ever honor the cancellation, so they kept charging my credit card. And it was one of those areas I thought I'd already dealt with, so I wasn't paying attention to. And lo and behold, a year and a half later, when I was auditing one of my credit card statements and some financial information, I'm like, what the heck is this? Well, they had been charging me $150 every month for a year and a half. And of course, they wouldn't honor that. They gave me a $150 refund, and I'm like, okay, it's your mistake. Here's the documentation. But it wasn't worth fighting over, right? Sometimes it's not worth fighting over, but it was a huge lesson learned of how we throw money away for no reason. I mean, that would have been a nice dinner out, right? So what are the top 5 improvement areas? I want to share these in case you're struggling with, well, what should I pick to soap this week? Number 1, budgeting and expense management. Number 2, debt reduction and debt management. Number 3, increasing income streams and income opportunities. Number 4, building emergency funds. And number 5 is investing and retirement planning, or in this case, I would say exit planning or legacy planning. What are you going to do with your business when you don't want to run it anymore or be a part of it anymore? Are you going to sell it? Are you going to leave it to your kids, etc.? What's your plan? All right. We're, of course, going to talk about all of those topics in detail for at least one day during the rest of this month. But pick one thing right now, your biggest challenge, or the area you want to see the most improvement in quickly. It's like I said, if it isn't in your face self-evident, you're doing great, or you're just not looking at it. Because every one of our businesses, there's an area financially that we could change, improve, grow, make better, or that we are not paying enough attention to it, and it's actually sucking resources out of our organization. All right, that's it. Any questions, hit me up and ask. Otherwise, we're going to hop into the SOAP framework tomorrow and actually do something about this in the next 4 days. All right, have a great day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.